Welcome to MomFit. Thanks for having me as your guest. Pretty fun. Wish we could do it together in person, but we will get to that hopefully sooner rather than later. So what we're going to start off with is just a warm up. We're going to warm up our feet, our hips, our core, do a little bit of breathing, get connected with our core and pelvic floor. Then we're going to do fun stuff, lift some weights, move around, and then we'll end with a little bit of breathing and cool down at the end. So biggest things that I wanted to give you guys for today's workout is we're going to work on getting a stacked position, which is just a fancy word of getting our ribs stacked over our hips, and working on hamstrings and abs, because those are the two biggest things that really affect mom's postures, mostly because of carrying babies, but also carrying babies and just from mom life, doing all the things we do. Getting up and down with kids. So we're really working on postural restoration because that's going to help us to feel better. And when we feel better, we can move more. And when we can move more, we feel better. So it's a nice circle of life here. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by warming up our feet. So I need you to take your mini band and I need you to roll it up into a little ball here. If you don't have a mini band close by, you can also use a sock. So you're just going to roll your mini band or your sock up. And you're going to place the mini band right underneath the arch of your foot. So I've got my mini band right under that arch, a little bit closer to where my toes are. So not right in the middle of my arch, but a little bit more forward. Okay? So once you put that mini band under your foot and you're like, this is not comfortable, you're on the right track. Let's push our heel heavy into the ground. So really get that heel heavy into the ground. And then you're just going to start to bend your knee, keeping your heel heavy on the ground and allowing your toes to kind of spread out as you do this sort of mini lunging action, okay? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get those toes to splay out. We're trying to reduce some tension in our arch, or if we have really flat feet, we're trying to provide some feedback for that arch so that it drops down when we bend and lifts up when we pull back. So we're going to slow this down and we're going to take a big exhale as we lunge into it. So let's inhale. And then as we exhale, bend that knee, keep exhaling all the air out, and then come back with an inhale. We'll do this 3 more times. Then exhale, keep that heel heavy, keep that lunge, keep pushing down into that mini band, then inhale back, then exhale, lunging into it, heel heavy on the floor, nice. Then inhale back, one more time, exhale, pressing that arch into the mini band, and now we're going to switch to the other side. So switch sides, the mini band goes under the arch, a little closer to where the toes are, get your heel heavy onto the ground, and just start to do your little lunge, forward lunge action into your knee. So remember, heel is heavy. You might already notice that your other foot that you just did is starting to feel like the toes can spread a bit more. It might be recovering from the trauma of having a mini band under your foot because it can be kind of uncomfortable. Oh yeah, so get that heel heavy. Allow those toes to kind of spread as you do your mini lunge here. So most common question I get when we start with foot things is, what the heck does this have to do with anything? My feet are fine, but your feet are the first connection to the floor, so they greatly affect the function of your hips and your core and your pelvic floor. Okay, now we're gonna add that breath. So take an inhale, and then as you exhale, get your heel heavy, and then get all the air out as you do that lunge. Keep exhaling, exhaling, and then inhale on the way back. Then exhale, heels heavy, keep breathing out, and then inhale on the way back. Then we're going to exhale, lunging into it, inhale back. Let's do this 2 more times. Exhale, heel is heavy, letting that knee come forward. 1 more time, inhale back, and then lunging forward. Okay, so let's get the mini band off to the side, or if you use your rolled up sock. We will use this later in one of our exercises, but what I need you to do now is I need you to come down onto your mat with your squishy ball, okay? So if you don't have a squishy ball, a rolled up towel or rolling up your mat works really well as well, okay? We're just gonna take the ball or a child's stuffy works well, or a rolled up mat or yoga or bath towel, and put it right underneath your armpit on the side of your ribs, okay? So it kind of feels like the side of your ribs are kind of propped up like this, and then you're just lying on your side, like so, okay? So we're gonna take some deep breaths in, and we're gonna breathe into the side of our rib cage. So when you breathe, lots of times that air goes into our belly. We're trying to send the air into the sides of the ribs right now, okay? So take a big deep breath in, and then exhale. You'll feel that ball or that yoga block or towel or stuffy push up into the sides of your ribs. Then you're gonna inhale into the sides of the ribs and exhale. This is a great way to get more mobility through the rib cage, which is really important for core function. Let's do a couple more breaths like this. Exhale. Feeling those ribs expand laterally out to the side, and then exhale. Now we're going to keep this move, but we're going to try to connect some pelvic floor relaxation, okay? So when we inhale, I want you to imagine letting go through your pelvic floor. So this is really hard for some of us. Imagine your sit bones are kind of spreading apart, okay? So let's take a deep inhale in. Feel that pelvic floor kind of drop down. It's going to be a really gentle sensation. And then as you exhale, imagine pulling your hip bones together on the front of your torso. Then inhale, relax that pelvic bowl. Let the pelvic floor go. Kind of like the opposite of doing a Kegel, not pushing down, but just relaxing down. And then exhale, think about doing a gentle Kegel, like 20 to 30%, okay? Inhale, relax. Exhale, gentle Kegel, pull those hip bones together on the front, all the air out. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhale, relax that pelvic floor, let those sit bones spread apart. Then exhale, gentle Kegel, hip bones draw together on the front. 1 more time. Inhale to relax the pelvic floor, and then exhale, draw those hip bones together on the front. Okay, we're gonna switch over to the other side. So one of the things that I like about starting your workout with just a little bit of breath and footwork is that these are all the things that help your pelvic floor to work better without you having to think about it too much. Okay, so get that towel or rolled up mat or squishy ball under the sides of your ribs. Stack your feet, stack your hips, get comfortable with your arm tucked under, and just start to breathe. So we're going to breathe into the sides of our ribs. And then exhale, allow that ball or rolled up towel to push up into the ribs. It feels really nice, especially if you did any push-ups lately, like I did the other day. Oh, feeling tight right there. Inhale. And then exhale. So allowing that ball to push up into the sides of the rib cage, allowing that head to just rest down. A couple more breaths. You can imagine trying to get a little bit of air into the back of your ribs. Try that as well. That feels good. Okay, so now we're going to start to try to pair that relaxation and contraction of the pelvic floor with our breath. So on our inhale, we're going to let that pelvic floor drop down. It does this naturally on its own, but we're just trying to aid that process. So inhale, imagine the sit bones spreading apart. Imagine your pelvic floor kind of blossoming down, just very gently, not pushing down. And then exhaling, pulling your hip bones together, doing your Kegel. Then we're going to inhale to relax the pelvic floor, let that Kegel go. And then exhale, drawing hip bones together, pulling up with that Kegel action. Couple more breaths. Inhale, relax. Exhale. I like that cue of drawing the hip bones together on the front as I Kegel. It really helps me to feel my deep, low abdominals, my transverse abdominis. Couple more inhales. And exhale. Do that gentle Kegel. You don't have to cramp and hold on, just a gentle pelvic floor lift. One more time. Inhale, relax. And then exhale. Kegel, pulling hip bones together. Okay, we're gonna stay on our mat on the side. You can get rid of that ball. You're gonna put your hands one on top of the other, lying on your side, and we're gonna trace a big half moon over the top of our head. So into a big T position with our arms here, and then we'll trace that hand right back over. And we'll do this a couple times. So this is a really nice warm up for the chest. This is one of my favorite exercises to give moms when they're breastfeeding, or even if they're just, if your kids are older and you find that your upper back and your chest are really sore and tight from picking them up, working on the computer, this is an excellent exercise to get a little bit of mobility and air up into your chest. Let's do one more on this side before we switch over to the other side. Oh yeah. So you can just roll right over to the other side, stack those feet, knees, hands, and then trace that top arm over the top of your head. So if you're really tight through your shoulders, you might have to lift your hand off the mat or off the floor at some point, and that's totally fine. You might feel this chest, shoulders, mid-back. Oh yeah, it feels so good. Maybe even through your lower back. Couple more, opening and closing. Woohoo! Okay, so let's make our way to seated, and we're gonna start with what's called a 90-90. So you're gonna bend one knee at 90 degrees and your other knee at 90 degrees, okay? You're kind of sitting up like this. This is a little hip warm-up exercise. So we're gonna roll from one side over to the other. So now I've got 90 degrees in one knee and the other. Now, if you're really tight through your hips, you can put your hands behind you as you do this. You're just gonna keep transitioning from one side to the other. Or if you feel like you've got a little bit more mobility, you can sit upright as you do this. Kind of rolling right across your butt bones. Getting a little bit of internal and external rotation in this seated position. Oh yeah, feels good. Let's do a couple more on each side. Beauty. This is one of my favorite things to do when I'm just sitting on the ground with the kids and they're playing or whatever. So I just do some of this side-lying breathing, some of these 90-90 transitions. Great way to get some mobility into your hips. Okay, now I need you to make your way over to a wall. So any wall where you can put your foot up against the wall. You're gonna get one foot up against the wall. Now you can see my leg is greater than a 90-degree bend, right? So it's not bent at 90, it's kind of extended a little bit. I'm gonna imagine pulling my heel down the wall, and I'm gonna lift just my tailbone off the ground. Okay, so my low back is still on the ground, but I've just lifted my tailbone up. So I should be feeling my hamstring and my butt on the leg that's pushing into the wall, dragging my foot down the wall. Okay, so now I'm gonna lift my heel off the wall and then kiss my heel into the wall. We're gonna do 10 of these. So my tailbone is up, my mid to low back is down, and I'm lifting and lowering my heel, kissing that heel into the wall. So you should be feeling work in your calf, in your hamstring, in your butt. Get all the way to 10 little heel kisses, kind of like an ankle pump, and then you're gonna switch to the other side, okay? So drag that foot down the wall, your knees slightly bent. Let's peel that low tailbone, very, very low back off the wall, but mid to low back is still on the floor. Oh, there's that hammy. Feel that hamstring and glute, so your butt is up off the ground, and then you're gonna lift and lower that heel. Lift and lower, lift and lower, and we're going for 10 of these controlled heel lifts, like you're kissing the wall with your foot. Nice, that looks great. Woo. When you get to 10, you're gonna make your way up to standing, and we're finally gonna start to get some of the sweat flowing. Okay, fun stuff. So great way to wake up the backs of the legs. Let's start to move into a squat in 3 different positions. So first position, we're gonna start with our toes kind of turned in, so they're pigeon-toed, what you're told usually not to do, okay? So we're gonna take 10 squats, just body weight squats, where we're kind of driving our knees towards one another. So you're gonna feel your ankles kind of roll in. Yeah, so it looks kind of like this, sort of like a pigeon-toed squat. We're taking 10 of these, guys. This is a great way to wake up and open up through the back of the pelvic floor, where a lot of us can be really tight. When you get to your 10th knees dumping in pigeon toe squat, we're gonna take 10 normal squats. So those toes are gonna be pointing forward. Those knees are kind of going in line with the second toe. You're sitting back into your heels. Still pushing down with your big toe. Oh yeah. Try to keep your torso reasonably upright, right? So that idea of keeping ribs stacked over hips instead of bending at our torso like that. Nice. Okay, once you get to 10 normal squats, now let's turn those toes out, sort of sumo style, almost like you're dragging your heels towards one another. So knees go wide and then stand up. Yeah, 10 of these. As you stand up, think of dragging those heels together on the floor. Good job. Waking up the legs. All the way to 10. And when you get to that 10th sumo, we're gonna start the fun stuff. So let's roll up your yoga mat, or if you have that rolled up towel, that works perfect. You're just gonna put it on the floor so that you can elevate your heels on it, like that, okay? You're gonna need a dumbbell if you have one, and your squishy ball or a yoga block. Anything that can go in between your knees, another rolled up towel works really well. So if you've got a variety of dumbbells, let's go from like a 10 to a 20. If you only have a 5, that's totally cool. If you only have a 25, that's also cool. So my heels are elevated onto my rolled up yoga mat or my towel. I'm holding my dumbbell in goblet position, so right at my collarbone, squeezing my elbows in. And my feet are decently close together because I want to squeeze this ball or yoga mat, okay? So let's sit down into our squat and then exhale to press the floor away. We're going to take 10 reps here. So inhaling on the way down, exhaling on the way up, and trying to keep more of that stacked position. So bring those ribs back, stay nice and upright, keep squeezing that ball on the way down with your inhale and the way up with your exhale. Going to 10 reps here. Woo! So setting up our squat this way helps us to work a little bit more adductors, inner thighs, a little bit more glutes and quads, and a little bit less back. So if you feel your back, check if you're bent over quite a bit and get that stack a little bit more vertical. Okay, once you finish 10, the dumbbell drops. You keep the ball or yoga block in between your legs. Option, you can put your forearms onto a bench or a couch or a coffee table or right onto the floor, okay? So your forearms go down. You've got your block or your ball in between your knees. We're gonna hold an elevated or on the floor plank for 30 seconds. So you can see my knees are bent, right? Kind of like a bear. I'm pressing my forearms into the bench or the coffee table or the couch. I'm squeezing the ball. Yes, time is on. And I'm trying to maintain this stacked position. Now I'm gonna make this harder on our second and third sets. Okay, guys? So pressing those forearms into the ground, squeezing that ball. Inhales and exhales, got under 10 seconds to go. Filling that upper back with air, pressing the forearms into the bench without rounding the upper back. And then we're gonna take a break. Okay, so that was set one. We're gonna do that 2 more times. We'll go back and forth between that feet heels elevated goblet squat and our super fun plank that I'll give you options. So find your dumbbell, get that ball, put it in between your knees, hold your dumbbell goblet position. So this is when we can start to work this a little bit more. We're gonna go down with some tempo. So let's go down for 2 counts, then press the floor away for 2 counts, slowing it down a little bit more than you want to. Down for 2, press the floor away for 2. Oh, it's so much harder when we slow it down like this. So this might feel a little different than your typical squat because your heels are up. You're squeezing that ball in between your legs. You've got your dumbbell in the front here. Great way to add a bit more load for those abs, right? Nice work, guys. Try to tuck that tailbone under. So try not to stick your bum to the back as much as you usually do. I know it's gonna feel weird. Oh, quads, yowza. Woo! It's okay to let those knees come out over your toes, squeezing that ball. Inhales down, exhales up. When you get to that 10th rep, you've got some options here, guys. If that plank felt really tough, or if you're pregnant, you might want to keep that ball in between your knees. If you want the harder option, drop the ball because we're moving on. So forearms onto the bench or elevated surface. You can hold that ball in between your knees if you want. Otherwise, get those knees bent, press the forearms into the plank, into the bench. With an exhale, you're gonna bring your knee towards your elbow, okay? We're gonna do 10 total, so 5 on each side, or 30-second hold. Come with me. So exhale as that knee comes towards the elbow, pressing the forearms into the bench without rounding the upper back. Woo! Keep breathing. If you're not choosing the knee in option, then you're squeezing the ball in this elevated plank, holding for 30 seconds. Holy moly. So why are we keeping our knees bent? So that we don't kind of get that extension into our low back. More abs. Woo! So once you finish that 10th rep of that knee drive, you're gonna make your way out of this exercise. Spicy. Nice work, team. Okay, back to your 10 heels elevated goblet squats. So if you're going a little faster than me or a little slower, it's totally cool. You're counting your own reps. We're all gonna be going at a different pace. So get that ball or yoga block or rolled up towel in between your knees. Heels go up, goblet position with your dumbbell. Let's inhale down for 2. Exhale, press the floor away. Inhale down for 2. Exhale, press the floor away. Nice, good work. So keep that dumbbell really close. Try not to reach it out because the closer it stays in, we're gonna be able to stay more upright and then we'll feel a bit more abs versus more back. Down for 2. Exhale, big toes and heels press into the ground. Nice work, guys. On your 3rd set of 10 reps, we're only doing 3 rounds through this and then we're gonna move on to some other fun stuff. Woo! Nice job. When we get to that 10th rep, you're gonna decide if you wanna keep the ball in between your knees for your elevated plank for 30 seconds, or if you're gonna drop the ball and do the knee drive in, okay? Nice work. When number 10 is done, goodbye to the dumbbell. Keep the ball if you want it. Otherwise, forearms press into your elevated surface or the floor. Get your bear posture. So that means we're bending the knees. We're keeping that stack from ribs to hips. No saggy lower back. Time is on for 30 seconds or 10 slow knee to elbow. So biggest cue on this one is press the forearms into the bench without rounding your upper back. Then you're gonna feel those abs work a lot more. Keep that knee bent. Don't let your knee straighten of that leg that's holding you up. Woo! Almost there, guys. 30 seconds is up. Finish off your 10th knee drive. Good. Now, if you want a sip of water, now is a great time to grab it. We're gonna move to the wall to do a more of a balance style exercise. It's called a wall hinge. If you want some medium to light dumbbells with you, you can absolutely bring them, okay? So you're gonna walk yourself over to your wall and you're gonna bend your foot, bend your knee. So I'm about 1 shin's length away from the wall. Yeah? You've got dumbbells if you want. We're going to hinge at our hips, press the foot into the floor, and stand up. It's kind of like a single leg deadlift with a bit of wall support. So we want to feel this in our butt and our hamstrings. Butt and hamstrings. Okay, so set it up. We're going to pair this with another lunge variation, and we'll go back and forth for 10 reps through each exercise, okay? 3 rounds. So on one foot, other foot pushes into the wall, got a soft knee bend. I'm hinging at my hips. I'm pushing my foot heavy into the floor and I'm coming back up. We're gonna take 10 reps, okay? So hinge forward and then press the floor away. Now this is a major balance challenge. So if you need to hold onto a chair or a wall or a toddler, they're slightly unreliable, but sometimes helpful. I'm sure you know. Woo! So where should we be feeling this one? We should be feeling this in our hamstring and in our glutes. Your foot is probably working quite a bit. This is why we warmed up that foot with the mini band earlier. Hinging forward, pressing the floor away, all the way to that 10th rep. When you get to number 10, you're going to switch over to the other side. So if you're feeling this in your back, try to bring your bum back to the wall a little bit more, okay? Okie dokie. This is when we find out that it's much easier to balance on one side versus the other. Okay, hinging at our hips. The bum is pulling back towards the wall slightly and then standing up. Now, if you are using dumbbells for this, you can always add them round 2 and 3 if you want. Keep them close to your legs, kind of like you're shaving your legs. Okay, we don't want to reach those dumbbells out. Just going to put more load on the back. Hinging at the hip. Maybe feeling a little stretch through the hamstring and glute before you come back up. Good. Get that big toe, baby toe, and heel heavy into the ground. Nice work, guys. Okay, so when you finish your 10th rep, we're going to get ready for our lunge with Powwow. If you're still finishing up 10 like me, then hang tight, finish those reps. So next move, round 1 is level 1, okay? It looks like this. We're gonna come into a lunge position, just like this. Sink your back knee down just a little bit. You can set up with me. And we're gonna lift our heel and drop it down. Lift and drop. You're gonna hate these heel lifts by the end. So we're gonna do 10 of these, okay? Come with me and then we're gonna drive the knee through for 10 at the end. So get into that lunge position. You're down maybe about halfway. Lift and lower your heel 10 times. You're gonna feel that hamstring on the front leg. Woo! Major balance challenge. The wall is there for you if you need it. Lift and lower, lift and lower. Holy spicy quad. So you're kind of halfway down in this lunge. You should be feeling quad and hamstring. Once you get to number 10, let's transfer our weight into that front leg and come through, okay? We're gonna bring our knee back and drive it through. Knee back, drive it through. Give me 10. Okay, so you're standing nice and tall. That spicy quad and hammy and glute on that front leg are saying, hello, nice to know ya. Woo! All the way to 10. When you get to number 10, we're switching legs, okay? So it's static lunge with heel lift for 10. Then standing up into that power lunge for 10. Get about halfway down, lift and lower. Lift and lower 10 times. Yep. So most of the rest of your body is staying pretty level. It's just your heel that's picking up and dropping down. Calf, hamstring, yeah. Woo, lots of balance. Once you get to that 10th heel drop, now we're gonna move to the lunge, okay? Knee goes back, drive through. 10 of these, drive through, good. Standing up nice and tall. Woo! You can make it easier by going not as low. Great job, guys. When you get to that 10th rep, we're going back to our wall hinge. Ooh, the quads, the glutes, the calves, we feel them all. Great job, guys, you look awesome. So setting up that wall hinge for your second set. Foot pushes into the wall, hinging at your hips, optional dumbbells if you want. Standing up, hinging forward. Now let's remember that stacked position, right? Really common in this move for us to either pop the ribs or round the back. Let's keep that stack. Whew. Nice job. 10 wall hinges on each side. If I could pick between you going a little faster or a little slower, on this one I'd say go a little slower, right? A little bit more lateral hip stability. Woo! When you finish number 10, you're going to switch to your other side. Great job. So if you're the type of person who tends to feel kind of the next day workout in your back, I want you to really pay attention that you're heavy on that foot into the floor, right? That's going to help get those glutes and hamstrings helping you along in this move. If you're just going down and up really fast, those low back muscles are a lot more likely to be running the show. Woo! You're in your second round of 3 for these 2 exercises, wall hinge. And what do you think we should call this lunge, heel lift, and knee drive thing? How about the lunge special? Not a lunch special, a lunge special. You can have the lunch special a little later. Okay, when you finish your 10th wall hinge on either side, you're going to set yourself up in that that lungy position. Get down about halfway, then lift and lower that heel 10 times. Nice. Woo! Calf, hamstring, quad, glute. Feeling all the leg muscles. They're working together. So if your heel lift is only like 1 inch off the ground, totally cool. This is a co-contraction, getting all the muscles around the knee to work together. So once you get to 10, you're going to get into that lunge, drive it through. Now, if you want to get super spicy, you can add a little bit of power. It's an option. You don't have to do it. Otherwise, driving that knee through 10 times. Standing up nice and tall, or power it up. Power it up. So once you get to your 10th rep of the power or the drive through, we're going over to the other side. Nice! You look great. Setting up that lunge, going down about halfway. Lift and lower the front heel. Wall is always there for you to support if you need it. Woo! Great job, guys. So you're feeling like you're in kind of a lunge position here. Your quads working, your calf, your glute, your hammy. Once you get to that 10th one, down and through, down and through, or power, power. It's an option. You don't have to do it. Pick your poison. Great job. finish off this second side. Woo! When you get to 10, final time on the wall for your wall hinge. One more time for each of these moves, and then you'll be happy to know we're going down to the mat. Yeah. Hinging at the hips, pressing into the floor. Big toe, baby toe, and heel. If you imagine those 3 points on the floor, they're making a tripod. And that's the connection you want with the floor. Big toe, baby toe, and heel. Kind of making a triangle type position. Woo! And that's where you're going to evenly weight your foot. Great job, guys. Hinging at the hips, pressing that foot into the ground. Once you get to 10, you're going to switch legs. Yeah, yeah. So remember, if you're going a little faster than me or a little slower, it's totally cool. We're all working at different paces. Maybe you're lifting a little heavier. Maybe you're just a Speedy Gonzalez. Woo! But when you have finished the second set of 10 on this second leg here, you know where we're going. We're going to the lunge special. Oh, yeah. Good job, team. Woo! I think we're going to feel the legs tomorrow, guys. I think that's going to be a thing. So when you are ready, set up in that half lunge. So if you're right up top, lifting the heel, you're not going to feel nearly as much work through the legs as if you're a little lower. Lift and lower, 10, heel lifts. Great job. You look awesome. Woo! Keep it up. So choose between that lunge to knee drive for 10 or power it up. You pick the option that suits your body for today. Good. Nice work. When you get to that 10th rep, you're switching over to the other side right away. Halfway down into that lunge, heel lift. Yeah, a little bit of balance while your heart rate's up. If you're already finished your third set, sip of water is a great time to have a little agua. Woo! When you get to 10, pick your poison, knee drive, or power. Or you can do what I'm doing, which is a little bit of both. Yeah. Great job, team. Awesome job. Finish strong. So good. Okay, when you finish that second set of the lunge special, third set rather, second leg, you're going to need to make your way down to the mat with the lightest dumbbell that you have. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, somewhere, something under 10 preferably. And you will also need your little small squishy ball, okay? All right. So let's get onto our side into a side plank. You've got 2 options. Easier is going to be from the outside of your shin and your forearm. Harder is going to be from your toes. Both are great options. We're going to grab our dumbbell and we're going to open up through the top arm. This is a side plank with a reverse fly, okay? We're going to go for 10 on each side. So pick the position where you can feel your core more than you can feel your back, okay? That might mean that you need to take that top hip and roll it forward a little bit. Let's open and close, open and close. Nice. Good, so you're pressing that forearm into the ground. Now, what if you don't have a dumbbell handy? You could lift that ball. Honestly, it's still an incredibly challenging exercise. When you get to your 10th rep, you're gonna switch over to the other side. So your elbows slightly bent, and it's staying bent as you do this. That forearm is pressing into the mat, okay? Knees or toes, rolling top hip forward slightly, opening and closing for 10. Good. Way to go, guys. All the way to that 10th rep. When you have finished your second side, you're going to stay on your back with your dumbbell. Woo! Feeling good? Is the sweat flowing for you? Because it sure is for me. So lots of shoulders, lots of obliques, those side abdominal muscles. So once you finish 10 reps on that second side, you're going to lie on your back. Make sure you've got some space to extend your legs. So your dumbbell's going to go straight up over your head. Now, if you're currently pregnant, you can do the upper body part, and I'll give you a option for lower. So we're going to reach that dumbbell just about 6 inches past your chest. So the dumbbell is going to kind of be over your forehead, slightly extended. Okay, for the pregnant crew, you're going to be extending one leg and then bringing it back in. Exhale, extend one leg and bring it back in. Next option up is to go into your tabletop. Keep the arms extended. Exhale to drop a heel. Inhale to lift. Exhale to drop. Inhale to lift. Your back should be flat on the ground. We're doing 10 on each side. Pick the position that works best for you. Those arms are slightly extended. So back is flat on the ground, but not totally jammed and crammed into the floor. If you want it to be harder, you can extend a straight leg, okay? That's going to increase that lever and really load up those abdominals. But we're picking a position that we feel more in our abdominals than our low back. Couple more to get to 10 on each side. Woo! So good. When you finish that 10th rep, you're going to roll yourself over and find that side plank reverse fly, okay? For round 2. Bent knee or straight leg, both are great. Top hip rolls forward slightly, and then you're opening and closing with that slightly bent arm. Pressing that forearm into the ground. Good job. Woo! Remembering if that dumbbell is too much, or if you have a weight that's just too heavy, you can always do this without weight, or you can do the first few reps with weight, and then once you get to around 10, you're going to switch over to that other side. So don't forget about this underside arm, the forearm that's pressing into the ground, right? Press the floor away. Take that top hip, roll it over slightly, then opening and closing. Good job. All the way to 10. My biggest cue on this one that I need to be careful of is not kind of popping my belly button forward. So I like to leave my belly button back, especially as I open up that top arm. Then I feel my hips and my abs a lot more than my low to mid back. Good job. Woo! Okay, when you get to your 10th rep, you're going to pick your option for that extended dead bug, okay? So option 1 is the dumbbell reaches just past the forehead, and you exhale to lengthen one leg, inhale to come back. 10 on each side. Option 2 is with the knees bent, dropping one heel on an exhale, inhaling to return. Option 3 is dropping that straight leg. So for me, when I drop the straight leg, I can feel my low back arch to the point that I can control it. So I pick the bent knee option because I can control that one a lot better. I don't feel that low back popping off the ground, and therefore I can feel my abs doing a lot more work. So when you finish your 10th rep on each side, exhale down, inhale back up. You're gonna go back to that side plank for one more set through each move. Woo! Great job, team. Oh yeah. So picking your position, forearm and knee or forearm and leg. 10 reps. So when we add the dumbbell here, we're working a little bit more posterior deltoid or back of the shoulder. And obviously lots of core stability. Options to drop the dumbbell if it becomes too heavy. When you get to your 10th rep, switch to your other side. Try not to wear those shoulders like earrings. So there's space, hopefully, between your earlobe and your shoulder, not hunching up. Yeah. Home stretch here, guys. You're looking good. Way to go. If you want to use my favorite side plank cue, don't pop the belly button. Woo! You'll feel those lateral hips and your obliques work a lot more if you don't let your ribs kind of pop out to the front. When you finish your 10th rep, side plank with reverse fly, you're going back to that extended dead bug and you're choosing your best option. So remember, it's never about doing the hardest option. It's about doing the best option for where you're at. Exhale, extending that dumbbell. Holding that dumbbell is going to really help to load kind of the upper part of our abdominals here. So great option if you're feeling low back pain is to keep one foot on the mat or to do the bent knee heel drop, or if it feels good and right for you, extending the straight leg. Now, when you get to your 10th rep, you're gonna stay on your back. You're gonna hug your knees in towards your chest and roll from side to side. If there's a large baby in your belly, then you're gonna go happy baby style and kind of hug those knees out to the side. Woo! When you finish number 10, drop the dumbbell. So maybe knees hugging in, rocking side to side, maybe happy baby. Take a couple deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Okie dokie. So let's roll over to our sides and make our way up to a wide-legged child's pose. All right, we're gonna move into a couple breathing exercises, little stretch, and then you're all done. So knees are nice and wide. You're gonna take your left elbow and you're gonna try to pull it towards the inside of your left knee, okay? Then your right arm is gonna extend out. So if you have a baby there, you might not be able to get your elbow right into the side of your knee. You might be in more of a wide presentation, but elbow into the inside of the knee, right arm reaches, and you're gonna take 5 breaths into your right shoulder blade and your right armpit. Inhales and exhales. That right arm is extended, sending all that breath into the armpit, the right shoulder blade, the muscles in between the shoulder blade and your spine. And then we'll switch over to the other side. So right elbow goes into the inside of right knee, left arm reaches, 5 deep breaths into the left armpit. Oh, that feels good. Send that breath into the armpit, the mid-back, the shoulder blade area. Great job, guys. All right, so we're gonna come into a half kneeling position here. Before we start to lunge into this stretch, I want you to tuck your tailbone a little bit so you feel a gentle pull on your hip flexor on the leg that's behind you, and then just gently start to lengthen, okay? Still trying to keep this stacked position. So we're not going full heart opening position. We're keeping those ribs back. That's going to help us to lengthen out that hip flexor a little bit more. We can reach both the arms up to the ceiling and imagine there's a rope and you're reaching, growing out of your pelvis side to side. So reaching one arm up, then the other, growing tall, more length vertically than arching forward. Okay, switch it up, other side. So other foot goes out in front. Before you lunge into it, tuck that tailbone. Gentle lunge till you feel a stretching, lengthening on the hip flexor. Ribs stacked over hips. Reach the arms up. Reach for that imaginary rope, growing one side, then the other. Woo! Nice and tall. Thinking vertical length more than arching. Okay. You're all finished. You're done diddled. Thank you so much for joining, you guys.